Hey everybody, welcome to DBS Films Podcast. My name is Kellen. With me as always is my brother Brendan, and together we make movies for DBS Films. Today's episode, we're going to go into part 2 of taking a look at 2023, what it has in store for us. This one's going to be mainly focused on growing our community, the events we want to do, and just kind of DBS on a whole. As always, be sure to take a look at our Discord channel online. It's a place to be. That's where we make movies for our fans, with our fans. That's where you can get into all of the action. So take a look at that. Now, something that we kind of talk about a lot is there's usually two ends of the Discord or of DVS. One is the actual filmmaking itself, and the other is the community. And I think, before we start 2022, while it was good for us to make two movies, there is nothing really too different from, Shapeshifter versus a Murder House. Yeah, it's a better concept, it's a better movie, all those little tiny things. But it wasn't really that big step up. The big step up, in my opinion, was Girl in Cabin 13, which kind of took us to a new tranche of just films. Now we're getting a bit of improvement, but the whole reason I bring this up is I really feel like 2022, we went from 0 to 1 when it comes to our community. We used to have Instagram posts and whatnot there, but I don't think we had a single fan, a single person that was like, DBS, let's go, about just our personal brand. Maybe someone liked the movie, that Girl in Cabin 13 was unique. Someone maybe thought one of the Hateful Eight movies was good. I'm sure they're out there, and bless them so much for that. But this was the first time that we really had someone actively supporting us, regardless of what the movies are coming up, in the sense of wanting being part of the journey with us. And again, I'm of course referring to what spawned from our TikTok to our Discord to what we have now. So we're basically sitting, here at 12,000 some members. So do you want to talk about how you see 2022 when it comes to being that huge, shift when it comes to the actual dynamics of us having a community?
Yeah, I mean, you could go back and look at, all the films we produced, the success that we had with distribution, the connections that we made in the industry, and none of that is even close to just the ability of the community to cultivate and grow. The community is by far our most competitive advantage, having, fans, and not only fans that are interested in our stuff, but are, really cool, and they are all about cultivating a Discord full of people who like independent horror movies. So I think that is something that, obviously we can use moving forward, to just make sure that, everyone knows what DBS is, what we stand for, that we're pulling actors from our, Discord and putting them in movies. And to have that foundation and that group of people that are extremely loyal is, it's great. It's an absolute blessing. I'm so happy that we have this. And it was something that I didn't even think we would have, looking back at 2022. It wasn't even, in our goals. I think we had metrics on just like, here's, some Instagram stuff, and we get some views on TikTok. And, the Discord that spawned out of that has really changed the company's trajectory and what we try and do with the company moving forward. I'm so grateful for everybody in the Discord that I'm always constantly trying to figure out different ways that we can reward them for their engagement and, just staying and, being along with us for the ride, whether that's pulling members from the Discord and putting them in, movies, the ones that earn those positions, to become actors in our movies, whether it's giving away a whole bunch of, DBS merchandise, whether it's having Halloween horror events, anything that we can do to give back, I am all for. I really am trying to invest in the community as much as possible because, it's at such a growth stage. And I really think that moving forward, this is how we're going to survive, as these streaming platforms and, all this stuff kind of shakes out with movies right now. I think that you'll always be able to fall back on our community. And it's absolutely incredible. It came out of absolutely nowhere. And I think if we have the opportunity to continue to make movies and continue to grow with the Discord, I think both of those things happening at the same time will create a really cool synergy. And I think we can get really good together very quickly.
It really is going to be the gasoline for DBS. I mean, it's going to take years off of the development, knowing that we have this amazing community. You know, I could honestly go on for hours about how amazing everyone is there. I'm always still blown away by how just absolutely wholesome everyone is. So there's all of these massively beneficial things there. But we've mentioned it before when why you need to build a brand, but having this level of support, I again at this indie level, I don't think it's an option anymore. I don't think you have the ability to go and get mass adoption if you're not actively pursuing it and creating a brand for yourself. And I think you'll see it more so for a lot of YouTubers who will maybe do a short, or maybe they have their own YouTube channel, but they've built their community, which then allows them to go ahead and fund their project. And those are usually like one-off things now too, where really now DBS Films and our Discord is the engine that together is going to power us, just to continue to get bigger and better. And I mean, it's only feeding on itself in the sense of how it's getting bigger and bigger. So it really is a huge testament to everyone who is there, all of the mods, all of everyone who's put in their time and effort to make it such an amazing place that it is. And the first benefit that I want to highlight with it is something that's coming up soon, which is going to be the launch of Forest of Death, which most likely sometime in February is now what we're looking at. We'll keep you guys posted on this. But one of the biggest things that, and we recommend this all the time to all filmmakers out there, having a successful launch for one of your films is so critical. I mean, on any level, there's a reason opening box office weekend's the important one. And, you're only on these streaming sites. Typically, you have a 60-day window, and your first few days, you feed it all this information. So, do you want to just talk about real quick how the bigger we grow, the better a launch we will most likely have due to the people supporting us in the sense of the active super fans that we have, why we want to reward them in the sense of building a bigger community, because the difference between, top 5 in horror versus top 15 is 5, 6, 7x potentially.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this one. I mean, I was excited for Murder House, and I was blown away by how high we were able to push that. And I don't think we really were coordinated very much with that launch, just because it happened so quickly. With this one, I've learned from my mistakes, and we are going to be ready. I really enjoyed the great Tubi war with Girl and Cabin 13. I think we just got to bring that battle to Amazon this time. Our target is top 15 in horror, but the $3, the $4 that you guys can spend to, just watch this movie is by far the most beneficial way to help us. Everybody looks at these launches, whether this is better distribution deals, and this is money that comes right back to us that we immediately send back out either to the community or to another movie. Like, we're not taking any of this money. We still have day jobs that pay for all the bills, but this is by far the best way to help us out, is to just get as many friends and family to download this for the $3. As quickly as possible. And I really think that, with how cool the Discord is, and, with how many members we have now, we can really start to push these things higher up. And the more visibility we get on Amazon and these other platforms, the more revenue we can bring in, the more revenue that I could throw to other movies, which means more Discord members in more movies, which means more revenue, which means, it kind of creates like this cycle. But, I'm really excited for the Forest of Death launch. I think we're going to do a lot of work. Top 15 is the goal. But if we can get to that point and start really pushing those numbers, it's all that cash comes right back to you guys. I want to make sure that we have things set up to reward you guys for, engaging with the product. And, our goal is to make as many movies as possible. And the stronger these launches are, the better distribution deals we're going to get, the more people we can cast, the bigger the community gets. So this is going to be the most crucial thing for us, but I'm very excited. I'm very confident that we're going to be able to push this one even higher than we did with Murder House.
100%. We're going to get stronger. We're going to get better. And again, all of the support that we're going to get really is going to show up for that. So another thing I kind of wanted to mention about is just our overall, concept in the sense of where we're looking for the distribution path to this. And we've mentioned this a little bit. We've been talking about it, but right now we're really kind of just in the pond of distribution. Whereas typically there is a waterfall system of, on the ideal sense, you go from theaters to an exclusive channel, like subscription wise, maybe like a Netflix or a Hulu, or even kind of like a Shudder. Then you would drop down into the pool where we're at, which is like Amazon Prime, Tubi, and those things. So right now, most likely, we're looking at a few different things when it comes to distribution of our movies. First off, Forest of Death, we're going to be looking at, not using a direct distributor, but using an aggregator. So that's going to be a new process for us. So that's going to be important, especially to test the waters with. But then after that, we are looking for Into the Forest, potentially. The word Shutter has been brought up a few times just as a way to kind of get more experience. And I want to, have you just kind of talk about that, but then also what you were mentioning, the reputation we can get by having the Shutter deal almost kind of opens up a lot more doors and could be actually more beneficial than the actual deal itself financially.
Yeah, I mean, not only do we, do I care about, getting our money back and, making revenue. This is a business and I have to, care about those metrics. But I also really want visibility. I want more people to come into the Discord. I want more people to experience what DBS is. And we're very much scratching the surface. Yes, our reach on TikTok is great. Our reach on Facebook is great. And Instagram is great. But really, if you look back on what happened and really like springboarded us to new levels was Girl in Cabin 13 going free on Tubi, and that just allowed us to have a ton of visibility. And the platforms that we are in now give us a lot of visibility. It's one of the reasons that I'm really excited to have Murder House on Amazon Prime for free, because now all those people can watch it. But there are, some channels that we're kind of missing out on that have a lot of horror fans, that will have a lot of indie horror fans that we can cultivate and, expose them to what DBS is all about. So, with me, I'm always kind of looking at it like, all right, well, how much does this, platform bring in revenue wise versus how much visibility, how many eyeballs, we can go for. And it's the same thing with the community. I'm always trying to reward the Discord in our community, no matter what the case is. And I think that right now where we are, having visibility and getting our stuff in front of as many people as possible is more beneficial than the revenue. And unfortunately, I think a lot of indie filmmakers are so focused on getting those dollars back and making money and just focusing on the numbers that they kind of lose sight of, what being a filmmaker is all about, which is getting your stuff out there and getting it out there to as many people as possible. So I do think there's a lot of other platforms that we just haven't hit yet. But it's the same thing with actors. When you take an actor to a distribution company or to an agent, or you're pitching them to a production, they want to know how many followers that person, how many eyeballs that person can bring to that movie. With us, they don't really ask production companies how big their following is, because a lot of production companies or directors don't have a following. With DBS, it's different. We're changing the game a little bit, where we're bringing our own following. And this is something that's been brought up multiple times in a lot of distribution meetings. But I don't think we've hit the numbers that we need to hit in order for people to really care about this stuff. But like I said, the launches with Amazon, with Forest of Death, will start to change that stuff. I think a lot of times the distribution companies are a little bit older. They don't really understand what TikTok is. They have no idea what Discord is. And they kind of think that I'm lying as far as like the numbers and the ability to push these things. So I think we can show them the might of the DBS Army, show them what we're truly capable of. I think that's going to open a lot of doors to get our stuff out there to show to a whole bunch of other indie horror fans.
They will understand the pure power of the DBS Army in due time. But yep, basically it's that. It's getting us to a lot of different platforms. So, this is one of the benefits of making more movies. You go through different angles. And I'm sure 5 years from now, we'll look back and be like, yeah, this is the best way to go. You go here, 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 and here. But we're still going to continue to figure those out. So that's one thing just on the business end that we're going to continue to do. So look out for that. I mean, I know if we can get on Shudder and get those free links, we can really demonstrate just how powerful the DBS Discord Army can be. So, that's something we're very excited to. Now, again, let's turn back to the community. This is probably probably be something more on kind of my end with what we're looking at overall. But we've done things like the challenges we want to continue to do. We're actually talking about doing a musical type thing. So our karaoke nights is one of our most popular events. So we're looking at expanding there. But really what I want to talk about is, right now, the way we see it, our community, in my opinion, is way ahead of our filmmaking, way ahead of the business film wise, in the sense of like, just the revenue it's generating those things. And once we catch up to the community, I think that's when we can really start rolling out a lot of the super fan events. We talked about renting out theaters potentially. We've talked about cruises. We've talked about, Las Vegas, potentially Halloween Horror Nights. So I'm not quite sure which ones we might specify in. I think the cruise is looking good. I think Vegas has potential Horror Nights again. But I think one of the big ones is I definitely want to have at least 2 super fan events this year. And I think the coolest thing with the DBS Discord is, you'll see communities like this, and really the concept or the idea or the topic they talk about is what holds them together. But there's never really a reason for them to meet up in person in some of these communities and whatnot, where I feel like having the movies really ties us together, whether you're working on set with us in the movies, whether you're being part of it, or we're doing events where we can celebrate these movies, we can celebrate the red carpet, we can just have all of these things together. I think when we see the in-person events, that's when we really kind of see the magic of this community in the sense of bringing people together, not just online, but in person as well.
Yeah, I do think the in-person stuff is absolutely critical. And I do agree. I think 2 super fan events is, something that we should really look, forward to. Obviously, Halloween Horror Nights is a given, but I completely agree, and I think that at some point we will do a traveling theatrical release where we can rent out theaters in super fan hotspots, just to reward everyone with their own little red carpet night. I think it's a great idea. But I mean, I think that once you meet everyone in person, it kind of solidifies the community, puts a face behind the name. And obviously, the 2 ways that I want to do that is bring as many actors to come on set as possible. And I mean, Into the Woods, we had, I think, I don't know, 10, 12 people from the Discord on that set. Even if they're out there for just a couple days, they all got to meet. So that kind of in itself is a super fan meetup. But I do think, rewarding people with either cocktails and screams or cruises or anything, spooky Halloween related, but also like red carpet events would be where we want to go to. And I think that as we grow as a company, as these launches happen with Forest to Death, I'm hoping that it just launches really well and we can kind of carve out some of that revenue and just have a dedicated super fans event piece of the expense report that we can, do, because I think that stuff is extremely powerful. And it really just solidifies the community, gives back to the community, which you hear me talk a lot about. And, I look forward to meeting everyone. Everyone I've met so far has been absolutely incredible. Some of the best people I've ever met. And I have no doubt that everyone else out there that I haven't met is just as cool. So, my goal outside of doing a very large zombie movie is to just continually reward the community, do these events. Vegas would be absolutely incredible. So we just got to kind of make it happen.
100%. And, these are things that you're going to continue to see from us over and over, in the sense that we want to continue to support and grow the side of the community as well. And I think these super fan events are one of the key ways to do it. So I'm excited for those. Next thing I want to talk about is what you kind of alluded to. So I have to make sure my numbers are correct. I'm going to look into it tomorrow, but I believe we had 24 people from the Discord that in one way have worked on our films, whether that is a special effect, an audio, a voiceover on set. Like you mentioned, we have about 12. Then on top of that, we have the remote roles coming. So that's going to get us 24 people that literally met us through TikTok. They said, hey, we're going to go ahead, join this Discord, see what this is about. And now they are part of the DBS legacy. And I really do see it as a legacy, because once you're in these movies, you're stuck, you're trapped. There's no getting, out of here. So we really appreciate all the amazing work. It's really shown us, how well people are talented in our community, and just the way that they're able to work when it comes to on set. So I was kind of wanted to see what your thoughts were on just working with the Discord now, in the sense of they're always very eager. We have very talented people here, but then I think the number I want to set for next year is going to be looking at 50 people. I think that could be a good goal, one way or the other, whether it's a voiceover, an on person. You just never quite know how the scripts or what everything's going to pan out. That being said, we always have an eye to how we can include more. So I think having 50 people from our Discord channel is a pretty sustainable goal for us going into 2023.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the goal is to always get as many people in these movies as possible, because it's a good test run. Like, we always start with our actors as usually small, very side roles, very minimal speaking roles. We want to make sure they're comfortable on set, that they understand the practice, and the ones that do well and do, put a lot of effort in pre-production, we bring them back. And I was blown away with how good everyone was on set with Into the Force 2.0, the pre-production that they put in, which is absolutely incredible. And, we're at the point now where I'll always take the person who's motivated and, has a good attitude and wants to put in the work, because we're still learning ourselves. We're Charlie Hustle over here. So I'll take those people over, big time actors who think they're hot shit, or, they just have some kind of attitude like they're above the indie sets. Those actors are, ones that we want to kind of avoid. So give me more Discord members, give me more people who are fans of DBS, who understand what we're trying to do. The passionate people are always the people we're going to seek out.
So where I want to go for this now, because this is a community focused one, is just make a few predictions. We got 4 movies. We got 50 DBS fans is what we're looking at, or from the Discord. I would say numbers wise for the Discord, we went from 0 on February 27th to 12,331 of the recording of this podcast. I think the goal for us is going to be 50,000. I want 50,000 members in the Discord for next year. But more importantly, I'm going to have to do a little bit of mental math here, so hopefully it's not too bad. Actually, the numbers are in my favor right now. We have 231 members that are super fan level 1 or higher. So those are kind of the real ones supporting us there. So I think 50,000 is what we want for the Discord members, and then 1,000 is what we want for the super fans. And again, before 2022, I would say we had 0 fans, in the sense of people that were actually following us. So that's absolutely amazing. But do you want to talk about, when we start getting up to these numbers, how we become such a larger prize, not only to distribution companies, to production companies, but to brands, to multiple things, to things, I 100% in the future know that our Discord will be sponsored certain areas, not to take away the experience, but the Discord itself is such a huge and amazing asset.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full funnel system, and it'll continue to grow. And I think the power of having 1,000 super fans, that's always the metric that I always track. It's nice to have, a whole bunch of members, but we want active and engaged members. And I think 1,000 super fans, when I look at that number, that is 1,000 people who, are willing to buy our movie on launch. And if we can get 1,000 downloads on day 1, I think we'll probably be, in the top 5 all of Amazon store. And that is extremely powerful. And if we can get to that spot, that just opens up so many opportunities for us, not only to reward the community with all these things we're talking about, but it opens theatrical releases, bigger movies. Hollywood sets have hundreds of people on there. And if we can get to that level, we're talking about 50 Discord members in 1 year. Well, if we get to that level, we're looking at 50 to 100 Discord members on 1 movie. That is a complete possibility. But once again, we need to have 1,000 purchases like on day 1. We'll get there as the movies get better, as the Discord community grows. But I mean, at that point, we have a lot more resources in our favor, and we could really scale and start to really grow very quickly. So I think the 1,000 super fans is probably the most beneficial thing. And I mean, can you even imagine a red carpet event with 1,000 fans? We'd have to rent out like a small little theater, multiple theaters at that point. So I would love that. There's nothing more in my mind that I would love than having 1,000 super fans who are active and who are engaged. And if we can do that in 1 year, man, that would make 2024 probably an unbelievable year.
Exactly that. So that's going to be the goal we're setting for Discord members. The next two goals I want to set are more on the other traditional channels. So we have our YouTube channel, which, man, YouTube shorts are wild. Like I don't know what they're doing with that, but it's up and down. So we have about 8,000 subscribers right now. We're like 7.85K. And I think YouTube does offer a lot more because I see it developing, doing more behind the scenes type things, potentially hosting our entire movies up there. So I can see that developing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say I want 25K subscribers for YouTube. That's one where I'm pretty iffy about because like I haven't gotten much traction with the shorts lately. So we'll see how that one goes. But I think through the other ones potentially there. But then there's the bread and butter, which is TikTok. And I'm going to knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't get banned next year because they're always threatening that. But with TikTok, I mean, last 90 days, we had 41 million views if you combined everything. So that by far has been really something that's kicked open the door for our growth. I would say 99% of our Discord basically finds us via TikTok. And I think TikTok is something that, I continue to focus a lot of my efforts on because that's just where the growth is coming from. So as of this moment, we are at 3,200 or 323,000 followers on TikTok. I'm shooting for the 1 million mark. And I think we will get there because we found a message that resonates because we're making movies for our fans, with our fans, and we're getting people in there and we're having people understand there. And now if trends are on our side, and again, you never know where trends happen, things pop up and you have to completely pivot and we'll be ready here. But I think if we continue this trend on TikTok and the growth and TikTok continues its trend of dominance as an app, DBS is going to be set up to be a real powerhouse in the sense that, we have more followers than a lot of other major movie studios over there, or we're getting more views than these other studios, or they're not adapting it the way we're at. They're not doing lives. It's just completely different. So I do think we're ahead of the curve with TikTok when it comes to this. And I think 1 million followers is going to be my lofty goal for the year for that one. But do you want to talk about how, because not only it's enabled us, but because it is the cutting edge and it is kind of leading there, it does put us up potentially in a good position. Again, knock on wood, nothing happens to either algorithms or things you can't control, but it is something that I think is really staking us as a powerhouse in the developing indie film scene.
Yeah, because we're actually building a community of people who are engaged and want to be with our stuff. As much as I like TikTok and the ability for it to give us, the growth that we've seen, I'm really bullish on YouTube. And I think 25K is probably a low limit. I'd like to see it 50 to 100K if we could turn on the ads for that and really get it going to where it needs to go. Because I think YouTube is a little bit different because with TikTok, you really can't monetize TikTok. People see your stuff, but then we have to send them somewhere else. Where I'd love to get all the Hateful Eight movies on YouTube. I'd like someone to watch one of our podcasts or one of our behind the scenes stuff and then immediately go and watch our movie. And I think that getting a random person to watch our stuff and then watch our movie is the biggest step, because at that point, I feel like they probably enter the Discord. And that's sort of like the funnel. And then YouTube, obviously, we get paid for those videos. I really think YouTube is going to be the biggest, filmmaker platform moving forward. I think YouTube just needs to realize that they have a huge market for movies. And for whatever reason, they just haven't done that yet. I think that YouTube very easily and almost overnight could absolutely decimate Tubi, but they just seem to refuse to do this. But eventually they're going to figure it out and say, hey, yes, we've made our bread and butter on making shorts and funny videos and, short form content, but long form content is king. There's a lot of people who would love to watch movies, especially indie movies. Low budget indie horror movies will do very well on YouTube. So I think it's, how do we cultivate that audience, as well as keep the TikTok going and all the other stuff going. These are just, tools in our arsenal. But I think, moving forward, I think 2023 is really going to be the year of YouTube, and we just really have to make sure we're on top of it.
All right. Well, you heard it, guys. Brendan's going to get at least 250K on YouTube. And if he doesn't, then he has failed horribly in his year. But no, I definitely agree. And I think it allows us to really tell our story more so in the sense of, we're going to flush out the YouTube and the content creation. Ideally, these will be whole departments in the sense of DBS in the future that will grow. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So that's going to go ahead and that's going to go wrap up what we were expecting for 2023. I think the last thing I do actually want to talk about before I do wrap up there, so maybe a little bit of a false ending there. I think we both know that 2023 is going to be another year of a lot of hard work. And I've been kind of putting this motto through to in the Discord a little bit more. But, I want to say that, I know both you and I understand we're going to be doing a lot of work on DBS. We'd love to do this work. This is what we're passionate about. We're going to continue to do it. We have both very good work ethics, so I don't see it being an issue. But one thing I want to mention is we appreciate all of the hard work going into the community right now from everyone. So everyone out there who's supporting us now, guys, we are still in beta mode, in my opinion. Like, we are so far from what we're going to come to. And I'm just saying, hey, know that there might be another potential year of work. And it might not, maybe you might not get in the movie this year. Maybe, you can't attend the Superfan events, all of those things. But I think the one thing I want to mention is we notice it. We really do notice this. So everyone listening to this right now, everyone watching this right now, just know that all the hard work that you put in, we are always going to look to reward those, especially the ones that are helping out now. So that's our mod team. That's basically everyone who's a super fan. All of you, it means the world to us. And I think if we just buckle down, put in all of the work and the effort for next year, we'll all have a lot more sweat equity and something bigger. So you just want to mention something to all the work that goes in on a daily basis of making this community, of supporting us, and how we definitely notice every ounce of it.
Yeah, I mean, just running multiple businesses, I don't really like setting goals as far as like metrics. Yes, having a certain amount of TikTok followers, YouTube followers is important, but really it's just, what can we do to make this year successful? And that's 4 movies. That's it. And those are the only thing I can control, is making 4 movies. Can't control the members of Discord, can't control TikTok, can't control anything else. The only thing I have in my control is I'm going to go out and I'm going to make 4 movies. And it's the same for actors. You can't control whether or not you're going to get a role, but you can control how many auditions you go on, how active you are in the community, how many acting challenges you can do, how much research you're doing. Are you watching movies? Are you trying different things? Are you getting better as an actor? And that is the only thing you can control. And eventually, if you keep doing that over and over and over again, you're going to be in a movie, whether it's a DBS movie or a bigger movie, is up to you. But it can be frustrating at times. I mean, we're going on 13 now. And, we're still in my head, I thought we'd be a lot further than we are now. But the only thing that we can control is just the next movie, the next day. And I think you have to keep your sanity, you have to do that. This industry is extremely frustrating because you could put in all this work. You could be working 12 hours a day for multiple years and not get a role or not be involved in a project. And we're trying to bridge that gap. We're trying to find the hardest working people and bring them on. But at the end of the day, you can only control your output. So if you can focus on that, if you can focus on getting better every single day, just get better every day, I guarantee you over an extended period of time, you'll be involved in this process. You'll be on a movie set, and hopefully it's a very nice, very large movie set, because, we're doing the same thing here. The 4 movies, I can't control which distribution company picks them up, what people are going to, how they're going to review them, how many eyeballs we're going to get. I'm going to launch a movie, I'm going to let it go, and then we're going to make another movie, and then we're going to make another movie. and then we're going to make another movie. One of these things is going to hit, whether it's now or 10 years. I don't know, but I don't worry about that. I just worry about getting better every single day. And if you take that to heart as your motto, as an actor, as an actress, as somebody who wants to be involved in the movie process, you will be in a movie eventually. I guarantee it.
100%. And honestly, the longer you wait, the better the movies are going to be. So you want to hold out for when we got the big stuff going on, and then that's when you want to be in there. But again, really just to mention to everyone, put in the hard work. We really appreciate all of you. We notice it. It means the world to us. And together, we are going to dominate a 2023 as DBS Films together. So be sure, take a look at our Discord, join that channel. That's a place where all of this fun is going to take place. That's where you are going to have inside access to our studio, as well as the chance to be on set with us. I hope you guys had a wonderful new year. Happy holidays with everyone, and I hope you're excited for 2023. Until then, have a good one.